New evidence just emerged giving credibility to theory of a Trump abortion payoff scandal. It's become difficult to keep track of all the scandals swirling around the Trump administration, even for those of us who cover them every day. Since the first month of the Trump era, we've been treated to a steady stream of reality show-style public firings, luxury travel scandals, and other self-inflicted drama at the White House. Special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation has sucked up most of the oxygen in the media for a year, and Stormy Daniels, the president's porn star mistress Michael Cohen tried to silence with hush money, dominated headlines for much of the first half of 2018 as well. The Elliott Broidy scandal, meanwhile, has flown under the radar for the past 2 months, but it's potentially the most destructive. Elliott Broidy, you may recall, is a millionaire Republican donor and fundraiser who had admitted to having an affair with Playboy Playmate Shera Bechard before helping her get an abortion. At the height of the Stormy Daniels coverage in early April of this year, the FBI raided Michael Cohen's offices and home. A few days later, the Wall Street Journal ran a story about how Broidy hired Cohen to arrange a $1.6 million hush money payout and accompanying non-disclosure agreement with Bechard. While both an affair and the termination of a pregnancy are certainly embarrassing for a family values Republican like Broidy, he wasn't exactly a high-profile figure facing public humiliation were the details of his sins to have gone public. As the Washington Post put it, $1.6 million is keep this out of the papers because it'll be a huge story money, not don't tell my wife money. Also suspicious was his choice of Michael Cohen, someone so close to President Trump with whom he had no previous personal or business relationship to be the one to negotiate the NDA and payment. Everything about this just seemed fishy. Many have suspected since the day the story broke that Broidy had in fact been recruited to take a fall for someone else, a much more high-profile Republican with a history of both having extramarital affairs with women in and around the sex industry, and then trying to cover them up with NDAs and hush money. Also of interest were the pseudonyms Cohen used for Elliott Broidy and Shera Bechard in their non-disclosure agreement, David Dennison and Peggy Peterson, respectively. If those names sound familiar, they should. Those are the same names Cohen used for the NDA he crafted for Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels. Trump apologists insist Cohen was just lazy and legally the coincidence means nothing. Others smell a rat. There's certainly precedent for this kind of cover-up. 2004 Democratic vice presidential candidate John Edwards covered up an affair and love child for months by having one of his donors take the fall. For those who have suspected President Donald Trump of similarly recruiting Broidy to do the same, they just got a massive piece of evidence to support their already well-documented theory. The AP published a report today describing how, throughout 2017, Broidy had been using his proximity to President Trump to curry favor with Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates to secure lucrative defense contracts for himself and his business partner. While that story is a massive scandal in its own right, what's particularly explosive is the confirmation of a meeting between he and President Trump at a particularly peculiar time. The two had a private meeting on December 2 of 2017 ostensibly to discuss his work behind the scenes with the Saudis and the UAE. Interestingly, however, it's been long documented that Michael Cohen made the first payment of the $1.6 million hush money agreement between Broidy and Bechard on December 1 of 2017. So on a Friday, Michael Cohen makes a payment to enforce a non-disclosure agreement between a Playboy Playmate and Elliott Broidy. On Saturday, Broidy has a private meeting with President Trump. Coincidence? So many things about this just haven't added up from the beginning. With today's news, however, they're finally starting to, just not in a way Trump's supporters hoped they would. Then again, few in the mega crowd have ever been accused of being math majors.